Good morning, chicks and chickens. Welcome back to Old Man Farm. My name is Sid, as always. I forgot, we gotta go up to Ridgeside and plan Lenny a birthday. We love Lenny, and let's do something nice for her. So, also on the docket today is hopefully get our battery situation sorted out. And then we just need to do some mining, and we can get Grandpa's shed going. Also, I was going to talk to you guys about, I got rid of my van. And to those of you that are not, I haven't talked about this in a minute, but I used to live in a van, and well, hell, I'll link it right now. I had a different channel where I just cooked out of the van. There's not a whole lot of videos, but I do really enjoy what I did with that channel. So yeah, go check that out if you're at all interested. But point is, it is kind of the end of an era for me, and I had I was hit harder by watching it get pulled away than I expected. So I'm going to talk to you guys about that. Oh, geez, never mind. We have enough already, right? We only needed 20. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. We're looking good, actually. Let's work on some iron, and we're good. Well, that's awesome. So yeah, I guess I'll just kind of get into the van thing. This is maybe not super interesting to other people, but it's not strictly about the van. It's kind of just about living and life. But as I said, I sold my van. I used to have a Ford Econoline, an E150, with a conversion top, meaning for my stature, I could almost stand up in the damn thing. And I didn't fully gut it. I just took the seats out, and I, built in a bed. I added a like a dresser, just some basic stuff, and I left. And this was right early 2020, and as you know, the world was shutting down at that point. And I left. I moved. I sold and/or mostly gave away everything, including another vehicle I had, and I left. And I first went to, I was living in Indiana at the time, and I first went to Pennsylvania. I went to Allegheny National Forest, and I stayed there for the better part of a year, moving all around through there. And I know, if you're familiar with camping laws, generally you can only stay for like 10 to 14 days, and then you have to leave for 28 days. But because of everything that was going on in the world, I don't think they cared. The park rangers seemed to be pretty cool with me. Didn't give me any guff. But the facts are that I had wanted to... I've stated this before, I think pretty early on, that all I ever really wanted to be was homeless. And I know that sounds insensitive, and maybe it is, I don't know. But what I mean by that is I have always had a really difficult time with schedules, I guess, is really the core of the problem. I am not good at getting up at the same time and going to work at the same time, at the same place, every day, no matter what. Beyond me being bipolar, which I have realized as I've grown older, that has to play into it. I'm very bad with sleeping. So in a 24-hour day, my brain wants to sleep about 5 of those hours and wants to be awake about 20 of those hours. So you can see where that makes my schedule kind of in a constant state of rotation. Which, hey, whatever. I guess I should say, like, I get a lot of people have these problems. I'm not special. I'm not, this isn't a pity thing. This is just, I'm just explaining my thought process going into this. And so I struggle a lot. I oftentimes end up having to take a day off work, every couple of months, just to get my schedule reset. Birthday party. I'd like to throw a birthday party for Lenny. Thank you. We'll have to remember to do that tomorrow. Anyway, so yeah, I struggled with, you know, keeping schedules, and I am a nomad at heart. I have a very bad time trying to do the same things day in, day out, go the same places day in, day out. I'm just like that. I don't know. I think I've told you guys the story that even I will often go sleep in rooms that are not my bedroom, just to have different, different scenery. It bothers me that much. So with the van, I had also, I had just went through probably the worst 2 years of my life. Self-inflicted, admittedly, but, hey, Abigail, you're thinking about exploring today? Good, because, let's see, I would love to go, but my sword is in another, take me with you. Okay, let's go find some trouble. Yes, I'm so glad that she asked, because I was coming here to ask you. Oh, right, we can't hop on Grover. That's okay. So, I have perpetually been stricken with wanderlust, and I had a very, very bad year, again, of my own doing, and, well, a couple of years, and I took the opportunity of the world shutting down to leave. When I was younger, I had wanted to buy open-ended Greyhound tickets and leave. I don't know. I want to see things. And so I bought the van, and I left with about $800 in my pocket. And that did not last long, as you find out on the road. And I kept myself supported through DoorDash and things like that. I lived in Allegheny National Forest for, like I said, the better part of a year. And damn it, I forgot my bombs. I'm sorry. I know you guys keep suggesting it. But then I proceeded to live in the van for like 3.5 years. I don't remember exactly. But, you know, and sometimes I would have to stop and get a real job. But even then, having a real job in a van, like, I just go park my house somewhere else, you know, each night. Like, if I start feeling restless, I just go... I go sleep in the park in my, like in a parking lot at the park in my van, and it's like, hey, look, you know, I'm waking up in a little nature park. So it was okay. And anyway, I made those cooking videos as a way to document, because again, horrible memory. And I don't know, I just sort of did whatever the hell I wanted for a while. And you know, you're still beholden to basic things. Like, you know, I still gotta pay my taxes. I still have to, you know, have insurance on the vehicle, so I need money. You know, you're not completely out of the system. But I was the closest I'd ever been, and for all intents and purposes, the things that bothered me in life were gone. I found this sort of peace that I had never really known. To that point, and it felt like the first decision I ever made in my adult life that was truly towards something that made me happy in a long-standing way. That freedom, and really that's what it represented, was freedom, and not even necessarily the freedom to travel. It was the freedom for change. I flee things, right? Not just because I want to see something different. And in fact, I would argue that up until recently, my moving has always been to escape more than it has been to explore. I mean, it's probably about 40, it's probably about 60-40 escape to exploring, right? So, point being is, I do all this, I end up back in Ohio, and I meet, my partner. And now, we have a house. You know, I own a house. There's nothing quite as permanent. Oh, it's down here, damn it. There's nothing quite as permanent as that. And I realized that with my van, which by the way, I only paid about $3,000 for. I paid $3,000 for it, and I've, put a lot of miles on it. It had like 300,000 miles on it. It's, it was going to need work. Quite a bit of work, a couple $1,000s worth of work to get it back to the point that it was really operable as a safe vehicle. And oh right, I forgot, ghosts they can go through things. So it was, what do I do? I'm gonna sink another $3,000 into something I've already sunk probably $2,000 into after the 3, and now next thing you know, I've spent all this money on a van that is still relatively junky. Or I could sell it, well, in my case, scrap it, because quite honestly, it needed it. It was old. It had been relatively destroyed. And so I called a scrapyard, and they came and they towed it away and gave me some money. And it was an odd moment for me. Like I said, I'm not a materialistic person. I value experiences and time more than I value things. I value, I value a lazy day more than I value the money that I would make at work that same day. And I think that's a big reason why the van was important to me, is that the amount of money I needed to sustain life was very low, meaning that was less time I had, in quotes, had to be at work doing something I don't want to do for someone that doesn't care about me. And that always bothered me. So anyway, I'm seeing the van get pulled away, and it's very, unceremonious. Just hook some chains up to it, put it in neutral, drag it out of the mud. Like, it was tough to watch because of, again, what that van had represented to me, and, where it found itself, or rather, where I had led it to, so to speak. It felt like truly the end of something for me. And that's a bittersweet thing. I am very happy to have my house. I'm very happy to have my family. And I wouldn't trade them for a van, obviously. But there is that part of me that has to come to terms with the idea that idea of freedom from the man, right? Like that's gone. I'm not gonna have that. And the freedom to change my scenery whenever I want, that is gone. And you know what? I'm just gonna go down the ladder. I don't like dealing with these spiral ones. So all those things are gone, and I sort of started thinking about it, and I tried to rationalize to myself what this meant, and I realized that the van is gone, but the van, although in my head represented freedom, does it? What is that? What does that really mean? I now have the ability to, due to having a good job. All right, good night, Abigail. I'm gonna go home, but I had fun. Let's do it again. I agree. Due to the fact that I have a decent job and a stable home, now I have the ability to save and go places, I have a family, which is its own, like, I don't know, it's its own... What is Torts doing out here? What's going on, man? There's a... I've always said that, like, home is wherever I'm at. I don't feel overly attached to specific places or things like that. And, you know, now I have this feeling where, you know, home is sort of, it's wherever my family is, you know, and that's a strange new feeling for me, relatively. And I guess what I'm getting at is, as bittersweet as it was to watch my van get pulled away, I got the experience out of it. You know, and that'll, I'll always have that, and I'll always have those stupid videos on YouTube, and I could never be where I'm at if it weren't for my time in the van. I couldn't be sober. I couldn't be finding peace with being stationary. I couldn't be, you know, I just, all of the things that I am doing right now, you know, my job, just all of it. I really don't think I could be doing it without the clarity that I found through my time in my van. And, I don't know, it was, I know it's just, at this point, if you're still listening, I suppose, I guess it's not boring to you, but I understand that this is, kind of a topic that only affects me, but I guess I have a hard time not seeing things as, like, I'm a bit of a fatalist. Everything is so final to me, you know what I mean? But it's, you know, life is a constant state of flux. Everything is. It's chaos incarnate. And losing the physical manifestation of that feeling and that thing and that time in my life is not necessarily, it's not inherently a bad thing. And in fact, having that baggage gone and having those few extra bucks in my pocket to go towards my rent gives us a sigh of relief. And I know that in a year, I could just buy a new van, right? And then we could turn it into something as like a day trip vehicle for the family. Go on trips together instead of it just being my old apartment, essentially. So, anyway, I have some plans to, I did some drawings and writings on the inside of it, and I cut those out, the upholstery out, and I think I'm gonna make, like, either sew it into a tapestry or something like that. So, some sort of something, I don't know. Anyway, if you haven't already, go check out those videos on the other channel. They're very short, just little cooking videos. But anyway, thanks for hearing my rambling. I know it doesn't mean anything to anyone else, but it was a huge turning point in my life for me, and it is something I will always, always, always be happy I did, even though I did it on, you know, a whim and nothing. And I think there is something to be said on doing things on a whim and nothing. You know, take risks. But anyway, I'm gonna go. So be good to each other. I will talk to you on Monday. And good night.